From Hollywood, California, welcome to Reza Riffs with your host, Keith Reza.
All right, Eliza Roberts. Thank you so much for doing this. This is a real honor to meet you. I know we've been trying to set this up for a while, so thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah,
There.
awesome. So I kind of know the story, about you and Eric, and we'll get into that. But let's hear a little about you. You're also a famous. You come from famous family too, and I think like that's very interesting because two famouses fall in love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've often said that in a way we're ghettoized because it's, everybody, I mean, obviously we mingle with all kinds of people who do all kinds of things, but there is a sort of an understanding within any industry or any lifestyle or whatever. There's an understanding of people who have similar situations.
Yeah.
Our hours alone are really hard to describe to anybody else. No one believes it. No one believes that you're on set for 22 hours and sometimes you get 3 hours sleep if you're lucky. It's all of that stuff. So we do kind of stick together. And so Eric and I understood each other from the beginning. So my family, my mom, all my parents have been married and divorced a lot.
Oh, nice. Mine too.
Oh, okay. There we go. See?
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I love people who have parents who've been divorced like five times. This is great.
Yeah. Five is the exact magic number. You hit it.
Oh my God, really? Holy,
Yeah.
holy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot. And I listen, I still go through trauma myself, feeling terrible about the father of my kids and me getting divorced because as common as it is and as well adjusted as you seem and as well adjusted as I sort of am in a way,
Yeah.
it's still painful. I mean, you don't want that for your kids. So
Oh
um,
no, definitely not.
yeah, no, you definitely don't. So, but my biological dad is David Raphael, and he was a screenwriter. 3 Days of the Condor, Around Midnight, The Way We Were.
The
Um,
firm.
yeah, The Firm. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of good stuff. And then my mom was a writer, producer, director, actress. And she was in comedy and mostly sitcom. Bewitched, All in the Family. Please Don't Eat the Daisies. My Mother, the Car. The Talking Horse one, Ed. Um, Mr. Ed. So
Yeah.
she was in comedy and television primarily, and my dad was in dramas and film. They were only married for 2.5 years, but
Right.
I got his genes, and so do my kids. And then after that, she married Don Garrett, a publicist. He adopted me. She was married to Bernie Kahn, who was her collaborator. And then her final relationship was with Mort Lockman, who's just huge, huge television person. So everybody was doing this.
Right. Well, how cool was that? Because like it wasn't your mom like one of the only female writers on the Dick Van Dyke show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. She was one of the only female writers, period.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so she's in all those women who did this and women who did that and all these museums and stuff. Yeah, because she never really thought about it. She just went ahead and had to support herself and her kids, and she just did it. She didn't think of her as a female this or that. She just thought of herself as a this or that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've kind of adopted that too. I've never been big on she I think she said something like when women's lib came about for her it was nostalgia.
Oh my
Um
God.
yeah, it was just we just didn't kind of think about it. We're aware, but to us, I mean, it's ridiculous that in this country, for instance, we've never had a female president. I mean, it's just like absurd.
Well,
Um,
that's probably gonna change, like for
yeah,
sure, and then especially in the next round. You know what I mean?
yeah, I sure hope so. Everything
Yeah.
change in the next round.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
but
just a funny way to say it, next election.
yeah, yeah, let's call it who knows if it'll even be an election. Let's pray. But anyway, so yeah, so all of us and my stepmom was Maureen Stapleton, an incredible actress, and my dad's mentioned throughout Barbara Streisand's book. So, this is our world.
Yeah. I wanted to like I mean this might not have anything to do with you, but I think it's very fascinating how your family were writers because back in the olden days you'd have to write a script on a typewriter, you know what I mean? And like you'd be like you know, and now you have a computer and you could also AI stuff, what you don't, you know what I mean? So that just must have been like so fascinating just growing up watching that, you know?
That's how we ended up in California. So basically, first of all, the sound of a typewriter, Eric and I have this in common, which is a weird, kind of obscure, random thing. We find the sound of a typewriter very comforting. Like it can put you to sleep. It's your lullaby. Because
Yeah.
parents who wrote. So, we'd go to sleep, but they'd stay up late at night writing. So, my mom and her then collaborator, Bernie Kahn, were writing Bewitched. And
Yeah.
those days, there was nothing. There was certainly not email, but there was no fax. There was no Xerox. You had to use carbon paper. So when you wrote pages and they wanted to comment on them because you're just writing episodes, you had to mail them, wait, they had to read them, call you on the phone, you had to write the notes in pencil. So after a certain point, once they became, desired writers on Bewitched, they said, we need to move you and the family to California. And out we went. I was a young teenager. My sister was a little younger, and we moved to California. I'm so, it's so hard for me to fathom that there's anybody here who's not from New York.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, where are you, by the way?
I'm in technically I'm in Huntington Beach, California, which is
Okay.
about 30 miles away from Los Angeles.
I know. Wow. Okay. I have a million friends down there. Okay.
Oh, really? Next time you're in, we should like go
Mhm.
to a beach barbecue or something. Like,
Absolutely. Or to a concert. My kid plays down there all the time. So yeah,
oh, nice. Yeah, I do concerts too, but I do stand-up comedy concerts.
I can tell. Okay, that's
Oh.
good. That works.
Uh, yeah. But now they change it to because like they used to say, oh, they're concerts, but now I guess they're considered performances. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. Oh, Eric, can you get that? Just ask who it is first, honey. Can't imagine who it is. Huh, the doorbell's ringing. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say it might be Jackie or something because I think she just texted me or something.
Okay.
Uh, but no, Jackie's great. I'm so
Yeah,
glad that she's in your circle. You
me
know,
too. All right,
yeah.
me too. Please
Uh,
tell her I feel that way. Absolutely. Very important.
so your family were writers and stuff. At what age were you? You're like, all right, I want to get in this business, you know. And did you even want to be an actress? Because you've had so many different circles in your career. You know, you were a producer and then a casting director, and now you're a manager. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that's a really good. Wait, hold on. Is that Sarah? Eric? I have to be sure he knows that it's our neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anyway. Okay. Let's see. I always wanted to be an actress, but I don't like to want anything that I might not get.
Right.
So I pretended I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
And like in my little diary when I was 10 years old, I said I wanted to be a hospital doctor, which is hilarious because I can't do, but I'm afraid of blood. I would have been miserably, it was never going to happen.
Was
Uh,
this before you found out people in hospitals die?
yeah, yeah. That made it even worse. Everything about it is just like, damn it. Um, so so I always wanted to be an actress, but I'm very practical. As emotional as I am, I'm very practical. So I didn't I was that the tomato from Sarah? Oh, did you say thank you? What? Eric. Okay, anyway. Um see, this is the glamorous life we lead.
Yeah. Hey, that's like my life, really.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
Like it's like a life and all that, and what a diva he is, and all the star treatment he gets from me, not at all. Um, anyway, so basically, I never wanted to be the struggling artist. So I'm a job collector. So I did every job. I worked in a book bindery. I was a nanny. If there was a job, if there was a way to earn a living, I was all about it. That paycheck meant it didn't matter if it didn't make ends meet, just income. It was very important in order to have independence for my family and also just survival.
Yeah.
So that's when all the jobs started. So I was always an actress. And then I was pregnant and I was on a show that my mom was producing called Baby I'm Back.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah. So a long time ago. And the casting director, wonderful woman named Pat Harris, she got ill, she got cancer, and we had a few more episodes to go one season, and they asked me to start casting it. I was a kid,
Right. How old
and
were you?
I was 24. So
Okay.
never had any casting experience at all whatsoever.
But you
And
had acting experience, so
yeah,
didn't that help you? Like,
sure, except for the technical aspects of it, like the breakdowns and seeing that and scheduling the appointments and auditioning people and being the middleman between your producers and the network and, just everything that didn't have anything to do with the creative ends of it, the business of casting. I knew
right,
nothing about. I didn't know those kind of relationships with agents, um, and or the studio or anything. But they just threw me in because a lot of times when we had a guest role, I would recommend my friends and they would come in and get the part. So they were like, great actors anyway, just cast the show.
right,
And I was a casting director. So I just finished doing Animal House and now I'm a casting director who's also on a series. On the series, she's casting. And then from there, everyone asked me, I'd find talent and I knew they were going to happen years before they did. They'd asked me to manage them, but no, I wanted to stay. The position I was in was as a buyer. I didn't
right.
want to be a seller because it was going to be less effective. So I never technically officially managed the people who I managed until Eric.
Yeah.
Um, And so,
He's the lucky one.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's
He's being
very
managed by the best of the best.
that's very, very nice. Listen, there's great managers out there. I just care a lot and I have a lot of energy. So, something about it works.
I, I'm trying to find a new manager because, like, I mean, I'm not so sure if they're like maybe back then, but like in the world that I am with stand-up comedy, you have to be super famous for the
Yeah,
managers to take you seriously.
yeah.
When stand-up comedy is mostly about talent, I feel. Where acting, you could probably get away with, like memorizing or something. Like it's two different arts. Does that make sense?
Very different arts. Well, I worked for a long time with Matt Rife.
Oh my God, my
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so Matt was cast. Eric did a little independent film, and this kid showed up. Channing Tatum has played the young Eric. Shiloh, I'm forgetting his last name, played Eric.
LaBeouf?
Say that again.
LaBeouf or LaBeouf?
No, no, a different one. Hernandez, Shiloh
Oh,
Hernandez,
that
not
was
Shiloh,
going.
Shiloh. So they've found lookalikes for Eric before. And Matt was actually playing, there was a kid who was playing Eric's son, and Matt was playing the best friend. And everybody on set was saying, this is ridiculous because Matt looks a lot like a young Eric. And
Yeah.
like a King of the Gypsies era Eric. So we became friends. He was struggling. His representatives were not listening to him. We kind of took him under our wing and um we helped him get a part in one of the Stalked by My Doctor movies, in some Don Pemrick films and some other things. We knew he was a star. We were so frustrated with everybody. And at the time he had pretty big management who was sort of doing him a favor, but he felt completely ignored. Like
Yeah.
he never heard from them, zero. So,
That's me. I don't hear from
well, this
me.
is what happens. And then we put him with a smaller agency who took him really seriously. And then we knew he'd break out like crazy. And then once he did, everybody who ignored him before, well, they forgot all about that. And suddenly there they are. So it is a terrible, terrible kind of, it should be illegal, that catch 22, because, it's really hard to find somebody to develop you.
Yeah.
And now they look at followers. I mean, Matt really ended up doing it himself on TikTok,
Yeah.
and that's the truth. I mean, with
But
all the help that he got from various people, no, it was that he managed to build the numbers. And they've always wanted someone who's box office. There's no difference. This is those followers, that shows that they can make money off you. This is your commodity. This is a business. I mean, and so talent, I wish it had more to do with it.
yeah. Yeah.
you know, it's a painful reality.
I mean, yeah, maybe just my mind is just set different because like my best friend was Norm Macdonald and I toured with him for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
So like I kind of learned everything from him. And
Yes.
Norm, even though he did a couple movies and stuff, he wasn't a movie star. Like he had no desire to do that. He just wanted to
Wow.
do stand up. So that's kind of how I'm
Yeah.
kind of trained. You know what I mean?
Well, I totally listen. I get that. And that's a huge Norm believing you like that and you touring with him. That's a huge credit. Like that's something that should open your eyes. I always say it's what's after the comma. so and so, comma, from blah, whatever
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
And that's gigantic because that shows a lot of faith from people who could have had anybody. You
Yeah.
know, Norm was incredible.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. He was the best.
Yeah.
Uh, I wanted to ask, what was it like, because you're in Animal House, which is considered one of the top comedies of all time. So like how is that like on your resume where you're like, holy Lord.
Yeah, I know. Well, my son Keaton just got he has a tattoo of him the day I brought him home from the hospital when he was a baby with me holding him. It's beautiful. And he was just touring in Australia, and when he was there, he got a tattoo of the poster of Schlock, which is John Landis's first movie that I was in,
Yeah.
of me and John Landis in Rick Baker's Schlock costume. I don't know what possessed him to do that, but it's an honor that my kid got that tattoo. It's amazing. John's blown away by it, and so am I. But Animal House, I John Landis went to the same high school I went to, but a few years before me.
Right.
And but that high school, Oakwood, Alex Ebert went there, Keaton went there, people kind of Peter Bernstein tend to know each other and keep knowing each other, Hart Bachner, and it's a lot of artists. And so John was aware of me, even though I wasn't even there when he was there. And I was in England. I moved to England to study acting when I was very young. I had graduated from high school already. And John came to see me in a production of The Crucible.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah. And so then when I was at Berkeley a few months later, he called and said, "Do you want to star in my movie Schlock?" And I did. And then for Animal House, he called me one day and he said, "I'm doing another movie. It's just a silly comedy. Nobody's going to see it. And I have this role, but you'd have to take off your shirt. And I'm having to audition actresses, and you have to have a secretary." That was the word in those days. In the room, it's super uncomfortable doing these auditions. You and I are friends. We work together, known each other forever. Can you just play the part? That was the other part, Shelley Dubinsky.
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." I said, I should tell you, I'm pregnant.
Oh
And
my gosh.
okay, let me write you another role. Because I said, "Well, when are you shooting?" "I'm not showing yet."
Yeah.
But the first thing that shows is the boobs. So, or at least for some of us. Um, so he said, "Let me write you another part." And he wrote Brunella. And
Oh,
that was my part. And his wife, Deborah Nadulman, our costume designer, put a poncho on me so we couldn't see the pregnancy. I had morning sickness the entire shoot. But we went to Oregon, I did the movie, and it was so much fun, as nauseous as I was. He kept saying the studio loves the rushes, they love the dailies, but we didn't know. We thought it was a big inside joke. We were shocked by the success of Animal House.
yeah.
We thought it was funny, but we didn't know that if anybody else was gonna.
Yeah, no, I mean when I first watched it, like it's like one of those films you're like, "Oh my God, this is just too funny
Yeah,
and too crisp." And you're like, like people back then had a great sense of humor. And it's
yeah,
so weird because humor has totally changed now. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yes, humor is very cultural
Yeah.
and and really important. Like Saturday Night Live is where we go for our sense of the news and what's happening in the world. I mean, humor is it's kind of a leader, and it's a future, a foreteller of trends and where we're going. And yeah, it's really changed. But listen, Tim Matheson, I mean, that scene with Vera Bloom, that I mean, my God, he was so good.
Yeah.
There was some stuff in there that's just undeniably hilarious. The throwing of the ice cubes that missed the glass. I mean, just I'm sorry, but there's some really funny stuff in that movie.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's one of the best ones for a reason. And it's I just find it fascinating because it is one of those movies where every generation just loves it, even
Yeah,
though the humor has totally changed. It's like,
totally. I know.
you know, I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen a great comedy
Yeah,
like like Animal House since probably the first Hangover. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's
Like,
not weird. Comedy's hard.
yeah, it's tough.
It's a very precise science in a way, although there's varying tastes, British humor, French humor, it's all different. But it's not easy. it's not just all over the place,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, I wanted to ask if this is true too, because there's a rumor that you got John Travolta in the Pulp Fiction, and is that true, or is it like what's the story on this?
Eric really just has a big mouth. Okay. So so Kelly Preston and Eric and I were doing a film called Love is a Gun. And it was produced by MCEG and Jonathan Crane, who's since passed. And Jonathan for a long time managed Travolta. And I acted a lot for MCEG. I also was VP of talent and packaging there.
Yeah.
And I become friends with John, who is the sweetest person in the world. I mean, he's ridiculously kind, just so nice. And he came to set, and I'm sort of known for talking people into doing stuff or just seeing the good in something. He came to set. They had just had Jet, their precious infant who was less than a year old. And John said, I've been offered this film, but this isn't going to be something. And we had done Look Who's Talking with him, which I helped cast. And
Amy Heckerling,
yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
Heckerling, right. And John said, I don't know if I'm going to do this movie. It's not something that my child, because there was only one child at the time, will ever be able to see. And it's really raunchy and it's out there, and it's called Pulp Fiction, and it's for Quentin Tarantino. And I was like, okay. And I had been involved in the casting of starts with an R, Quentin's first movie. Reservoir Dogs. Okay.
Yes,
Reservoir Dogs. Okay.
teamwork.
Yeah. So yeah. So I was like, no, 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 you have to do it. It doesn't matter whether your kid can see it or not. And I just talked Bruce Willis into doing the voice and Look Who's Talking based on that finally that would be something his kid could see. And at the time he only had one kid. Rumor was his child. And he'd done that voice just for her. But
Oh,
but anyway, so we said to John, no, 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 you can't. And he had just gotten his price back up, and Quentin doesn't really pay. And we were like, no, you can't. This is a no-brainer. You're doing this movie. So I was among the voices who I don't think he was ever really gonna not do it, but I definitely had no problem telling him he had to do it.
yeah.
And he listened. I mean, he cared. He'd always valued my input on casting and other things, and he listened, and maybe I had something to do with it. I don't know.
But see, like that's a skill that, you learn the more you do. So like the fact that you just knew it off the top of your head, like that's pretty, because I know nothing about casting, but I know who John Travolta is. So like if I have a movie script, I'd be like, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
But I would have no idea if John's right for it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Well, I did know. I knew everything that made him seem wrong for it is exactly what made him right for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, John, this script is called Grease 3. You got to do it.
Yeah, I would try that if I were you.
Well, yeah, just confidence, I guess. And so then, since everyone has a big mouth, I also heard you got George Clooney on the ER.
Okay, so I worked for, okay, that was really funny. So Clooney, my adopted dad, who I consider to be my dad, Don Garrett, was Clooney's publicist, for ages ago, like way before anything, probably before Facts of Life or anything. So I always knew George. On YouTube, there's a thing of us doing a reading together from years ago. We've been really good friends forever and ever and ever.
Oh,
Since I guess the early 70s or so. So
we
uh
could edit that out if you want.
no, no, that's totally fine. It's okay.
I was like, you
No,
gave me
no,
the look like, I don't know if I should say
no,
70s.
no, it's fine. No, it's fine. I was trying to remember if I had kids. I know that he came and did his laundry at my house once, and I already had kids. So that would have been the early 80s. But anyway, George. So we're very good friends. And so what a wonderful, wonderful person. So George, George was, no one has auditioned more and done more pilots and other things that didn't go when they already had star quality. And nobody has hit their head against the wall more than George Clooney. He even did a different pilot called ER that was a sitcom. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I remember that.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he was right there and he was so good, but he had that old-timey look and vibe. So more of a 40s movie star, Cary Grant. So it wasn't the bad boy, messed up looking guy. So it wasn't really in vogue. But here's what happened. I was on staff casting for Laura Marr, Warner Brothers Television, under Les Moonves, but Les hadn't even taken over yet. So I was there with Barbara Miller. And then when Les came, he said, I'm going to give a development deal to find a series for one of two actor performers. One is Sinbad and the other is George Clooney. Which one do you think I should give it to? And I was like, I love Sinbad.
Yeah.
He's very lovely and funny. Uh, Obviously George Clooney. Why can't you do both? They're completely different from each other. But you have to. And ER was in development, and there was kind of someone to match with Julianne Margulies, and I just knew that was going to be a total win. There was
Yeah.
no question, but that was a tipping point. So I begged Les, who was friends with George and liked him a lot, um, and I had had George in for like a second lead in an after school special and had fought for him and he didn't get the part. I mean, so I was really on in his corner and I just knew ER was the vehicle for him. So I spoke to all the higher ups and went over everyone's head
Yeah.
and it happened. Now, I think that would have happened anyway, but I really worked at it. I couldn't stand the idea of it not happening.
Yeah.
Um, so in my capacity as a casting director there, I did similar things with Halle Berry and some other people. Yeah,
So,
because I just
Eliza, a lot of these people owe their lives to you in a way because,
well, yeah, they talk about it. David Duchovny talks about it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan talks about it. But again, I call them the inevitables. And so to me, those lives are going to happen anyway. I mean, it's what's shocking is thinking of how hard I and others who believed in them had to fight when it was so obvious. Like that's really annoying,
yeah.
right? So it's like, come on, what are you waiting for? So,
Well, well, you got a great eye for talent. I mean, just look at it. George Clooney, Eric Roberts, Matt Rife, Keith Reza.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Keith, yes. I agree. And
uh,
this is great talent. It's not my eye, it's the talent itself. But anyway, go ahead.
so I wanted to ask you, another thing is like when you're doing this, like, and then you're also like now doing some movies with Eric and stuff, like, were you still casting during that, or like, because that's two different jobs at the exact same time, does that like mind fuck you?
Nope.
No?
I do it all always.
Oh my God.
And I think that they feed each other like magnificently, actually, to be honest, because first of all, auditioning with other people, because I do a lot of coaching, definitely keeps your chops up. Like I'm working more as an actress now than I ever have in my life. I mean, who would ever have thought now? Most of my friends are retiring. I feel like
Right.
we're just getting started. So, but being an actor really lends itself to being a great casting director. And knowing casting and the ins and outs and being in that world really helps empower you as an actress. And it's just like directing and acting.
Yeah.
So to me, they all live in the same place.
You should try directing. I have a feeling you're gonna have a knack for that.
Yeah, directing, there used to be CAA used to have a t-shirt, they always have a t-shirt. And the t-shirt was an agent sitting at a desk, and across from the agent sitting in a chair was a dog who was saying in the speech bubble, what I'd really like to do is direct.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to direct. There's no question but that I am a director. So there's no question but that I would be great at it. It gets obvious when, I mean, I hate to say that, but when people work with me and they're like, oh, um, but I never wanted to be in that position of sitting there trying to sell myself and watching people turn away and not care and feel like you're wasting their time until it happens. I
Right.
don't want that. I just selling oneself is just terrible.
Yeah.
So that's why, and people have been mad at me for not just jumping in there, but I've seen great people have struggled for so long, and I just like, ugh, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know you gotta get going, but I got three more questions, so we
Okay.
will get out of here by 2:15, so you can make your other appointments. Is that cool if we could do this?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
I
Yes.
want I wanted to ask your opinion on this because back in the day, like if you were a movie star, you couldn't do TV. Like it was very taboo, and they'd be
Yeah,
like, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And
yeah.
now movie stars are doing TV stuff. You know what I mean? And vice versa. And I wanted to your like what's your opinion on that and the drift of the change?
Great questions. God. Okay. In my gray casting book from 19, let's see, my daughter was four. So like 1985, maybe. Um, in my breakdowns that I would put out for casting, I had a little note that said, um, be ahead of your time. If you are movies only, stop and think because in a minute everyone will be doing television and there's no stigma to it and you're turning down some great material.
Yeah.
And I said more things. I was elaborating on it. So when I cast You Again, starring Jock Klugman, it ended up with John Stamos. We saw Patrick Dempsey. We saw a ton of people who then said no to Keanu Reeves because they were features only, features only, feature Ellen Barkin, features only, features only. Um, there is, especially now, I mean, kids are watching things on a device the size of the palm of their hand. So they don't know whether it ever was in a movie theater or where it was. They don't care.
Right.
Wherever good writing is and the good DPing and the good music, which is huge, in film and anything you're watching. It doesn't matter. So I think a lot of people miss the boat. I used to, when I was trying to convince movie stars to do TV, I would use Tom Hanks as an example. Tom Hanks was on Bosom Buddies.
Oh yeah. That's a show people don't really remember.
Yeah, but it was a popular show. He was on it with Peter Scolari. He had his development deal at CBS. Um, and look, he's definitely a bona fide movie star.
Yeah.
Um, and now if you really want to reach a big audience, you better not have it be just a feature film that you're waiting for a theatrical distribution because that's a joke.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that and now like commercials, voiceovers. When I got Bruce to do Look Who's Talking, no big actors were doing animation voices. It was
Yeah.
out of the question.
It
So
was a trained set of actors who did it. Like,
yes, that's
yeah.
right. That's right. Exactly. So and there's some wonderful, and it was kind of hard for them because they were so good and they had such good careers and suddenly they were kind of shoved out of the way. Um, but a lot of the big names that we read for that part of Mikey, the kid in Look Who's Talking, they're as great as they were and as funny as they were, their voices didn't match. It really is a very specific skill. But anyway, I think everybody should do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it and have for a long time.
Yeah. You gotta be careful when you say that because like everyone should do everything, and then you're like, oh, what about these hardcore drugs? You're like, whoa, no, no, I didn't mean that.
Oh, I mean, no, except for that. I mean, definitely. I have a YouTube show called I Hate Pot, for God's sake. So no, I don't mean everybody should do everything. Murder people. I mean, depending on who they are, of course, but no.
I was just trying to make you laugh.
Gil, you're making me laugh. All right. I'm talking about acting roles, for God's
Oh,
sake.
all right. So
What are your
I have
questions?
two more questions for you. One I wanted to ask you, Eliza, if you could go into a time machine
Mhm.
and talk to a younger version of yourself, knowing everything you know now, and you
Yeah.
only have 30 seconds, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, wow. Okay. I would, a lot of stuff comes to mind. I would, um, even though I'm a workaholic and I brought my kids to work with me as much as I could and incorporated them so I could always be with them and stuff, I think that I would have found a way to not also be seeking romantic connections during all those years where I really felt like I was a really there mother and then a not there enough, overcompensating, but not in the right ways. I would have been much more domesticated.
Yeah.
Um, I probably wouldn't have left, even though amazing things have happened since I've been with Eric. I probably wouldn't have left Jimmy, my husband. Um, I would um I would have helped guide Keaton, my son's career, a little differently, like stayed out of it more, because I think some of the decisions that were being made for him by other managers were a lot better than mine. Um, I would, um, gosh, I mean, there are there are a lot of things. I mean, I have billions of regrets. People talk about no regrets, and I do it all the same. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I really wouldn't. So there's a lot of things that most of them center around my kids, who I just love too much to have ever been part of anything that was even challenging, much less painful in their lives. So there's a lot of stuff. And as a matter of fact, Keaton wrote a song called "If I Hadn't Forgotten," and it's kind of a twist on "If I Knew Then What I Know Now," because he says, "If I knew now what I knew then."
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Everybody should listen to this song. It's kind of amazing. You can find it. It's easy, but a lot
I'm
of things.
s- I'm so glad you said that and you didn't say Eliza. This is Eliza Roberts from 2025. How you doing? Hey, if Keith Reza asks you to do his podcast, say no.
Of course, as a matter of fact, it's a really fun podcast, and I would absolutely say yes, and I would tell
Oh,
everyone to talk to you. So
oh,
there you
excellent.
go. So thank you, Jackie. Thank you.
Uh,
Was
and
there a
then
third question?
yeah, yeah, and then my final question for you is what is your biggest like if I was famous and I had like power to help you and do you a favor, what is the one favor you would want me to help you with?
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, it definitely is about my kids. I
Okay.
would want, because some of the most fun that we've had, that Keaton's had with his music, is a huge placement of his song "When I Go" on Suits. So I would say just just help him have, he's got a foothold, that's for sure, even
Yeah.
more of a foothold, because he's brilliant, and I'm going to make sure you listen to his music. And my daughter too, she's a chef and caterer and baker, and she's amazing. I would just employment for the kids. That's it. That's always been it. That's
Uh,
all I care
all
about.
right. Well, I'll get him a record deal and I'll get her own bakery somewhere and stuff. Like if
Okay.
I had all this, I'd do it.
Okay, great, it's a
Uh,
deal. We're
All right.
shaking.
All right. Eliza, thank you so much for doing it. And last second too, like I was like, holy Lord. So I'm so glad that we got to do this. And it was a real honor to talk to you. And thank you for being my best friend for 45 minutes.
Well, this was amazing. I'm so glad that I was playing with my 2.5-year-old granddaughter and taping cameos for Eric and doing a self-tape for me, and I never saw the email changing this whole day.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, I like one-on-one better because I have Asperger's syndrome, so it's really hard for me to talk to two people at once.
I
So,
totally get it. I totally get it. And your Asperger's is working for you.
oh, I thank you.
And even though they've renamed that, you
It's
know what I
autism as support now, yeah. But I
mean?
renamed it sports.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're a really good, you're a really good emblem for this, because you're just great. Oh my
Oh,
God.
I thank you
We
so
love
much.
you. So
Ah,
come do things with us. We have to work together.
I would love that.
Okay.
Well, I know
Great.
you have another appointment.
Yeah.
Is there a place the folks at home can follow you? You have a Twitter or
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I do have Twitter. It's Mom Eliza Roberts, and Mom Eliza Roberts. There's a lot of fakes, but that one's real. And then so that's Twitter and Instagram. We're gonna follow you, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Keith
Okay.
Reza, I'm
Is it?
everywhere. You could Google me. It says I'm worth $1 million, but that's not true.
I told that about us too, or it's something like 6 or 8 million, and none of that's true. God. All right. Yeah, we did
Well,
not finance Jeff Bezos's recent wedding. No, we didn't.
well,
Contrary.
well, Eliza, have a great day, and we'll talk in a couple of days. And thank you again.
Okay, bye, sweetie.
All right,
Bye.
all right, guys. That was the episode. Subscribe, rate, review, and we'll see you guys next week on Razor Riffs.